You know what my favorite thing about cataloging games is? It's when the game's title on the title screen doesn't match the title on the packaging. On the box, this is W Ring, Double Ring. On the title screen, it's W Ring, The Double Rings. In general, I try to stick with whatever title's on the packaging, but as an additional complication, the Hue card calls it W Ring, The Double Rings. Is a little bit of consistency too much to ask? Anyways, 2 against 1, this game's W Ring, The Double Rings. W Ring is the first game developed by Flight Plan, a game developer that's really obscure in the US, but gained attention in Japan in the early 2000s with their series of strategy RPGs called Summon Night. Their biggest success outside of Japan is probably the very obscure and generally disliked PS2 RPG Eternal Poison. And before they got into those strategy RPGs, Flight Plan made a very small handful of shoot-'em-ups. We'll see another one by them fairly late into this project. W Ring is a horizontally scrolling shoot-'em-up that heavily borrows from other shoot-'em-ups. Kind of what you'd expect from a first attempt by a novice studio. The plot of the game is that humanity has found a new energy source in the gas clouds that surround star Jupiter. Yes, that is actually the name of the planet. They build a base above star Jupiter and start collecting this new energy source, and that's when aliens from another dimension attack. And there you go, that's the plot. W Ring has 6 stages, kind of. One of the quirkier features here is that every stage has a hidden EX icon, and collecting it will teleport you to an alternate version of that stage. Palette swapped and with a different layout. So every stage is really two stages in one. The bosses at the end of these extra stages is the same as the original, and there's no additional reward for completing the extra stages. They're just there for the fun of it. There are 5 different weapon power-ups you can collect, plus your default gun that you start with and return to if you ever get hit. The default weapon is just a straightforward shot and bombs that drop out ahead of your ship. You fire them by pressing button 2, and W Ring has a built-in auto-fire function, so if you still have one of those old controllers with no auto-fire, you won't have to wear out your fingers playing this one. The weapon power-ups all drop from the same ship pod. Hitting it once will cause it to explode, releasing the weapon power-up that starts cycling through 5 colors. Naturally, each color is for a different weapon, and every time you collect any weapon power-up, your weapon level increases. All weapons have 3 levels of ability, plus a super secret additional power-up. So if you collect 2 red power-ups, and then a purple power-up, you'll be using the purple weapon at level 3, the maximum strength. You get that extra weapon mode by collecting one of the hidden power-ups with a question mark in it. The purple weapon is a spread cannon, and it starts out as a 3-way, then upgrades to a 5-way, and finally an 8-way shot. It's a fine choice for dealing with weaker enemies, but isn't as effective as some other weapons when it comes to concentrating fire. For example, the blue weapon, which is a laser, is very good at concentrating fire. As it powers up, you'll get additional beams coming from the ring around your ship. The laser penetrates terrain, which makes it an excellent choice even in tight situations. The orange weapon improves your missiles. It adds an upward shot and increases the number of missiles that you can fire simultaneously. It's a little hard to spot the improvements as you power this one up, but it gains an ability where the missiles will run along the ground. Now, despite not looking especially impressive, missiles wind up being weirdly effective. They fire as fast as they hit something, so if you can park yourself close to a tough target, the missiles will chew through it faster than any other weapon. The green weapon is a high-speed wave shot, and it doesn't really do anything except for be a little bit larger. Even powered up, it doesn't look that much different. The fully powered up laser offers the same area of effect, does more damage, and penetrates targets. So the green weapon's actually the worst option, is what I would say if the red weapon didn't exist. Collecting the red weapon gives your ship an option, a little dot that follows along behind you. At higher levels you get more of them, with 4 of them at max level. Now if you're watching the video instead of just listening to it, then you've already spotted something wrong here. The options don't shoot, they just follow you. Enemies have to run into them in order to take damage. Of course, you're trying to dodge out of the way, so those trailing pods wind up being even less help than you'd think. They are truly worthless, and if you're using that weapon, then you're doing something wrong. There's one more type of item that you can collect, and that's a pod with a B in it. And the B stands for bonus. What, were you expecting barrier? They're not as useless as it sounds, since score is how you earn extra lives. The ring that you get around your ship when you're using a powered-up weapon has one additional property. It can deflect bullets for you. Its position shifts depending on if you're flying forward or backward, so I wouldn't want to rely on it deflecting shots, but it is something there to help you. As I mentioned, if you get hit while you have a weapon, then you return to the default state, and then if you get hit when you don't have a weapon, you die. You start out with 3 lives, but you can continue as many times as you like. I found that in most cases it wasn't that difficult to get powered up again in W Ring. There are a few tight gauntlets where you don't want to be stuck on the default weapon, but for the most part you can power through. The last control in the game to mention is the speed control, and you rotate through 3 levels of speed by pressing button 1. I found the default first level of speed to be a little on the slow side, but you can adjust it how you like. I have to mention the bosses before I wrap things up, because the bosses in W Ring, well, the patterns are good, but they have no health. If you know how to approach them, and you don't have to be a world-class player to figure that out, then you can easily defeat them in less than 5 seconds. The bosses in this game are wimps. I'm used to bosses being too damage spongy, requiring that you pound on them for a minute or so. This is too far in the opposite direction. I found that Japanese players seem to generally like W Ring. There were a few complaints, including the fact that it's actually kind of a rare game these days, but they were fairly positive on it. My own take was going to be a little bit more muted, but as I was going over this script, I'm thinking, maybe I'm being a bit too hard here. I've got 3 real problems with W Ring. First, the visuals can be a bit crowded, making it hard to spot some stuff. Bullets in particular tend to not be brightly colored in comparison with the background, so one misstep in the visual design department. Second, 2 of the weapons aren't very good. Most shoot-'em-ups I've been playing on the PC Engine lately have at least one weapon that's bad. And here, these aren't even situational weapons. You have strictly better choices available to you. And finally, the big one, W Ring is super easy. They might have big dramatic bosses, but they're not even challenges. Now that was actually a selling point for the game that they even placed on a big sticker right on the cover, playable by all skill levels. But even hard mode doesn't add that much to it. There are codes to increase the difficulty another 15 steps, but I wouldn't count cheat codes as part of those difficulty levels. Now the flip side of that is that W Ring does a lot of fun things. The game has great visuals and sound. The levels are fun to play. From my perspective, I was coming down on good but not great. And I think that is where I'm going to stand for my own opinion, but I will add a caveat. If you aren't a shoot-'em-up expert, then W Ring is a great game to start with. It's very friendly, very accessible, has lots of options and cool things to do. It's a perfect game for easing into the genre. If you play a lot of shoot-'em-ups on the other hand, you'll probably play W Ring for half an hour or so, beat it, and then go, okay, that was fine, and move on. W Ring is a game that is perfect for a particular audience. and just pretty good for those who aren't part of that audience.